Right to the point.
Micah chapter 5, verse 8. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Thine hand...
because they're going to be calling on the Lord. They're going to be trying to call on the name of the Most High, and they're not going to be delivered. The Most High is not going to hear them. Go ahead.
It says, thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots, and I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds, and I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers.
Yeah, because you Edomites, you don't believe in the Most High. You believe in the spiritual demon Satan. That's why you make these movies. You got that series, the Twilight series. Now you got part 3 that just came out called Eclipse. And then you got Harry Potter. And what other? And your cartoons, your kiddie shows is all about witchcraft and shit. So Charmed and all that. Everything about you is on the left-hand side of Satan. Your God is Satan. Go back to your God, man. Deal with your God. Stop pretending like you're getting close to the Lord. Your side is the side of this damn spiritual demon Satan. That's spoken of in Genesis the 4th chapter, man, about Cain. Go ahead.
Thy graven images also will I cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thine hands. And I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee.
That's your false-ass churches with your cracker images all in it. Go ahead.
So will I destroy thy cities, and I will execute vengeance and anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard.
Yeah, you Edomites got jacked up in many different eras of history, but this is going to be the worst ass whipping you're going to get in history, man. Now, this brother Yohanabar, he's so in the spirit sometimes that on his job, he even, and there's Edomites that work on his job, he even showed them videos on YouTube of us and him. So they already know about him. The Edomites that I'm around, man, they know about us, man. They done seen us on YouTube. They done seen us speaking and all that. They already know about us, man. And they ain't really doing nothing. You know why? Because they know in the back of their brains that they got an ass whipping coming to them. All right? All right, go ahead.
Zechariah chapter 9, verse 12. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as a sword of a mighty man. And the Lord shall be seen over them, and his arrows shall go forth as the lightning. And the Lord power shall blow the trumpet, and shall go with whirlwinds of the south. The Lord of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour and subdue with sling stones. And they shall drink and make a noise as through wine. And they shall be filled like the bowls and as the corners of the altar. And the Lord their power shall save them in that day as the flock of his people, for they shall be as the stones of...
As the flock of his people. So how in the hell you going to get an Edomite out of that? How you going to get a Moabite out of that? How you going to get a Hamite out of that? Barack Obama's not going to make it with us. Masasha and Leah is not going to make it with us. They're going to have to die on this side, man. And Michelle, she ain't going to make it because she done sold out, man. She done laid with a damn Hamite. And she's part of this damn New World Order system anyway, so she ain't going to make it. Go ahead.
For they shall be as the stones of a crown lifted up as an...
That's them ships, them so-called UFOs. Go ahead.
Lifted up as an ensign upon his land. For how great is his goodness, and how great is his beauty. Corn shall make the young men cheerful, and new wine the maids.
Now, we're going to go to Gad right quick. And we're not going to have time to get into Ephraim, because Ephraim is there's a lot to Ephraim, right? Let's go to Gad, which is Genesis, the 49th chapter, the 19th verse. And then we're going to go immediately to Deuteronomy, the 33rd chapter, and the 20th verse. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Right. Now, when Gad was born to Leah, there was a troop coming, marching through. So you had a thing, and Gabar always uses this term, omen nomen. You name your child after a certain event. So she saw this troop go by, and she said that behold, there goes a troop, and I'm going to name my son Troop. There was a double meaning to that, because what happened to this to Gad? A troop actually took them over in the last days, which was the birth of this nation, the North American Cavalry. All right? And you got the documents over there.
This devil Andrew Jackson. He signed what was called the Indian Removal Act of 1830. It says here the 21st Congress, first session, and this was in Ohio. It said Memorial of the Ladies of Steubenville, Ohio. It says against the forcible removal of the Indians without the limits of the United States, February 15, 1830. It says ordered that it lie one day upon the table. The Honorable, the Senate, the House of Representatives of the United States. And this is what it says here. This is
so it was the United States. It wasn't no wayward Edomite that got together with a lynch mob to take down Gad. It was this country that took down Gad. So you can't call this society a great society, you know, having President's Day and all that. And then you got a statue down in Jacksonville, Florida of this guy, Andrew Jackson, which he was a president. So the so-called greatness of this man's society, we shouldn't celebrate that, because we were brought down by his greatness. He became great through us being brought down. And that not just us, not just Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, but Gad and the rest of the tribes. Go ahead.
This is from an article called People and Events, Indian Removal from 1814 to 1830. If I got that right, it's kind of scratched out. But no, okay. It says early in the 19th century, while the rapidly growing United States expanded into the lower South, white settlers faced what they considered an obstacle. This area was home to the Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole nations. Excuse me. These Indian nations, in the view of the settlers and many other white Americans, were standing in the way of progress. Eager for land to raise cotton, the settlers pressured the federal government to acquire Indian territory. Andrew Jackson from Tennessee was a forceful proponent of Indian removal. In 1814, he commanded the U.S. military forces that defeated a faction of the Creek nation. In their defeat, the Creeks lost 22 million acres of land in southern Georgia and central Alabama. The U.S. acquired more land in 1818 when spurred in part by the motivation to punish the Seminoles for their practices of harboring fugitive slaves. Jackson's troops invaded Spanish Florida. From 1814 to 1824, Jackson was instrumental in negotiating 9 out of 11 treaties which divested the southern tribes of their eastern lands. In exchange for lands in the west, the tribes agreed to the treaties for the strategic reasons. They wanted to appease the government in the hopes of retaining some of their land, and they wanted to protect themselves from white harassment. As a result of the treaties, the United States gained control over 3/4 of Alabama and Florida, as well as parts of Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky, and North Carolina. This was a period of voluntary Indian migration. However, only a small number of Creeks, Cherokee, and Choctaw actually moved to the new lands.
You got something else?
Yeah, this was a poster as Indian land for sale. Get a home of your own, easy payments, perfect title, possession within 30 days. Find lands in the west, irrigated, irrigable, grazing, agricultural, dry farming. And then it says Colorado, Idaho, Kansas, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Oregon, South Dakota, Washington, Wisconsin, Wyoming. These are all the places they took over. For the year 1911, it is estimated that 350,000 acres will be offered for sale. It wasn't yours to sell in the first place. You took it. Scripture says you should not remove the ancient land.
But then they'll get mad. They'll get mad at the fact that we're speaking about them. You know? That's why when you go down, you're going to go down hard, man, and you're going to go down fast. Is there more to that? All right, go ahead.
It says, for information as to the character of the land, write for booklet, Indian lands for sale, to the superintendent, U.S.
So they don't hide it. They'll say Indian lands. They're acknowledging you that they're the land of the Indians, but it's for sale. But it wasn't Gad that was selling the land. It was these Edomites. They said, don't worry. You buy the land. If they give you any trouble, we'll send the troops in and we'll destroy them. And that's exactly what you did. Go ahead.
It says, advertisement for the government sale of allotted Indian land. Such practices led to the drastic reduction of Indian-owned, I believe it says lands. It got cut off there.
Okay, so now let's go back to Genesis where we left off.
Right. Genesis chapter 49, verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him.
So we just read, if they had trouble in obtaining them lands, they had the North American cavalry, which was that great troop that destroyed them. All right, go ahead.
It says, but he shall overcome at the last.
So don't you have Gadites? They got casinos all over the place, man. Now they can lend money. They had this one Gadite on a TV commercial talking about if you need money, you can come to me and I'll lend you some money. So now, but the real way they're going to take over is on a physical level, just like Judah. Going back to Micah 5 and 7, because Micah 5 and 7 on down is talking about all the tribes. We're going to have to get physical on you, man. All right, go ahead.
Genesis 49 and 19 again. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Now Deuteronomy 33 and 20.
Deuteronomy 33 verse 20. And of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion.
Right, it said, blessed be he that enlarges Gad. How is Gad enlarged? Do you look at the land of America? That's a big stretch of land. That's 2,000 miles by 3,000 miles. That's a lot of land. Then then you have Canada. So you're going beyond 3,000 miles. Because Canada is just about as big as America, or maybe bigger. Go ahead.
It says, and of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part for himself.
Tear off the arm, meaning the blood brother ritual, which they actually did. And the crown of the head was that headdress that they wore, the beautiful headdress that they wore. All right? Now, I got a clip right here of Gad. Let me go to that. All right, go to that, brother.
Final list, go. Jerry Cleveland. Man, that guy. His snag just would not let him go here tonight. Jerry, come this way, young man.
Look at the crown of the head. Look at how girded they are. And you get a good look, you see the fringes on them. Right, the faces as lion. Look at their faces. The faces as lions, all right? Hey, the scripture said we are a peculiar people, man. All right, go ahead. I read on.
It says, and of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part for himself, because there, in a portion of the lawgiver, was he seated, and he came with the heads of the people. He executed the justice of the Lord and his judgments with Israel.
Yeah, because he was a great warrior. Out of the tribes, the three tribes